best. And that's what this part of this season is all about.
Tom Brady puts it only where he can get it.
All day, just like that.
Regular season is what it is. I mean, you realize you put it in the books. We're here to win playoff games.
Literally nothing matters. What we did in the regular season, all 16 of those games are like they didn't exist. Yes, they got us to this point, but those games don't matter at all.
A team that's made a bunch of improvements over the course of the year.
You got to dot the I's, you got to cross the T's when preparing.
Really, it's not going to be if we don't put rings on our fingers, because once you're in the tournament, that's what you're playing for. We did enough to get here, and now it will not be satisfying unless we finish it.
Hey, Stephen A. got us started. It is playoff weekend. 6 games, fellas. Fire it up. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Stephen A. Smith. First of all, let me say to you, thank you for holding it down yesterday. Holding it down, hosting, debating, all that. Max, solid as usual. Stay low, keep firing. But I got to say one thing, Stephen A., about Ryan Clark. One sec, Stephen A. Ryan, you and my husband, what's the deal? It's like a new haircut every day. Every time you show up, I never know who's going to come downstairs.
Well, see, Molly, this is what you have to understand, Molly. When you do have a hairline, you have a hairline that can change and grow back. You can change your hairstyle. When you don't, you got to stick to the same haircut you've been rocking since, quite frankly. And so I think that's why you hear a little bit of the hate you've heard from Stephen A. about my new haircut.
Well, first of all, you don't need to look all mean, looking like you got a unibrow because your forehead you got the wrinkles on top looking all mad. It was a compliment, number one, with your damn Christmas shirt on. That's number one. Number two, Molly, as usual, the yellow is slamming, but I got a complaint. Don't you ever leave me in that position again. Don't you leave me, girl. You keep your chair. I don't want it. You keep your chair, and I'm going to stay in my chair. Okay? Don't you do it.
I was all ready. Full disclosure, I wrote the show, hair, makeup, the whole thing, and it was technology issue, internet down in my area, unfortunately. But you guys really held it down. I watched the entire 2 hours. Max, both of you. It was obviously a very serious show, and I appreciate it.
Hey, Max.
So, all right, let's get to it, though. We're having fun today.
Hold on, Molly.
Go ahead, Stephen A.
Max, fix your tie just a little bit, even it out, and push it a little bit to the left.
See, he's still hosting, Molly. He did a very good job, but he's still hosting. He's doing wardrobe. He's doing
everything. I see it. Yeah, I'm taking over now, Max. Always looking GQ, Max. Stay consistent. All right, guys, we start with Tampa at Washington. So here's the deal. Tom Brady and the Bucs taking on the 7-9 NFC East champion Washington football team. Alex Smith is listed as questionable. This one is Saturday night. Stephen A., what do you think? Does Washington have a shot to actually beat Tom Brady and this Bucs team?
I mean, should I go to Max first? I think I should go to Max first on this one. I want to change course just a little bit. Max, can I get your answer first, please? Because I got to wait to give mine. Can you do that for me, Max?
The answer is no. Of course, they don't have a shot. They shouldn't. I mean, this would be a monumental upset and a terrible stain for Tom Brady and the Bucs. The Bucs have been playing their best football. As the season wound down, they were ramping up. Does that have a lot to do with Tom Brady's leadership and experience? Absolutely. I believe it does. My hat's off to him. He had a remarkable season. And they are peaking at just the right time. It's an 11-win team. They stomped the Packers early in this season. They beat the brakes off the Lions. I mean, like when you put a good team in front of them, they could win. When you put a bad team in front of them, they could stomp them out. Meantime, they're playing a Washington team. A Washington team that is sub 500. Guys, the only reason they have 7 wins instead of 6 wins is because Peterson didn't kick a field goal and then took Jalen Hurts out of the game. Otherwise, they'd probably be playing the Giants right now. The Washington football team is lucky to have 7 wins. Now, Alex Smith has been a great story. I guess it'll be a big story if he plays. This is a team without a true quarterback who you'd want leading a team on a Super Bowl run. No offense to Alex Smith, who's had a remarkable comeback. But come on, guys. Given age, injury, the whole thing. And it's not like Alex Smith was ever Tom Brady. And you don't have your young quarterback who you drafted to be your franchise guy because you got rid of him. This is a team that sure, they can play some defense. And yes, they laughably get a home game. But this is a season where home field doesn't mean much for the most part. No, the Bucs are big favorites here. and they absolutely will win. And if they don't win, that is a monumental upset.
Well, listen, when we talk about whether or not they have a chance to answer that question directly, I'm going to say yes for one reason and one reason only. That front four and their ability to get to the quarterback. Tom Brady has been sacked 21 times this season in 16 games. The Washington football team has 47 sacks on this season. Chase Young, your captain on the defensive side of the ball, even as a rookie, he's got 7.5 sacks. Montez Sweat, he's got about 9 sacks. Kerrigan has got about 5.5 sacks. We know that this team can get to the quarterback. What is the Achilles heel? Molly and Max, you should know this better than anybody, because the only reason y'all were able to beat Tom Brady in the 2 Super Bowls you faced him when you had Tom Coughlin as your coach was because you had a front four that got to Tom Brady. That's the only reason. And so what we've recognized throughout the years watching Tom Brady, regardless of his greatness, his 6 Super Bowl rings, his 9 trips to the Super Bowl, et cetera, the one thing that has him tap dancing in the pocket, like the late, great Gregory Hines, God rest his soul, is the fact that you've got a front four that can get to him. It's the only thing that seems to really neutralize and negate him. You can have an elite secondary. You can have a big-time offense. You can have linebackers that can drop back into the secondary or could even get to the quarterback or whatever. But when you have a front four that doesn't necessarily need to blitz in order to make you considerably nervous, that has been a problem and an Achilles heel for Tom Brady, and we've witnessed it because we saw him lose 2 Super Bowls because of it. That's the only chance the Washington football team is going to have. Do I think it's going to be good enough? No, I would bet my money on it. But to answer a question as to whether or not they have a chance, considering their strength, is their ability to get to the quarterback, to make him tap dance, to make him nervous, to put his behind on the ground, to put a hat on him. This is what they do. That's the Achilles heel for Tom Brady. I believe, based on that reality, you can't definitively sit up there and say the Washington football team doesn't have a chance when they've got a front four like they have.
Yeah, you heard Bruce Arians say. Bruce Arians says it's championship or bust. If we don't get the ring, you bring Tom Brady to Tampa Bay to get the ring. This is not a let's build for the future of Tom Brady. What, are you trying to win it when he's 50? No, they're trying to get it right now. And when you ask, okay, does the Washington football team have an opportunity to win this game? Yes, they do. But that's just a puncher's chance. And Max knows when you have a puncher's chance, sometimes you got to put yourself in harm's way. They're going to have to bring pressure. They're going to have to show physicality. They're going to have to be all out and heading and going to get Tom Brady. But that's it, right? It's going to take about, you think, 27 points normally to beat Tom Brady in a playoff game or to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this playoff game. If it gets to that, if that's what it takes from the Washington football team, they can't compete in that arena. They can't go win a shootout against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's going to take Payne. It's going to take Sweat. It's going to take Young. It's going to take Kerrigan. All of these people are going to have to be in Tom Brady's face. But most importantly, Allen and Payne have to rush up the middle. What is Tom Brady? Tom Brady is a guy that likes to step up into pocket, move sideways, create lanes to throw, and push the ball down the field to these wide receivers, whether it's Godwin, Gronk, Antonio Brown. They can't allow that. They have to get the ball out of his hand quickly, and they have to hit Tom Brady every single opportunity that they have. That's the only chance that this team has to win. They have to turn the ball over, maybe score themselves, and more than anything, not give up big plays. That's how you let Alex Smith get an opportunity to score enough points to win this game.
Every football team has a strength, and the football team, you know, the Washington football team has guys up front, especially Chase Young, who can get after the quarterback. Well, of course, I mean, like, you can't win even 7 games if you don't have any strengths. By the way, what is that strength playing into? Is the O-line a weakness for the Bucs? No, the O-line is one of the Bucs' many strengths. They do a very good job protecting Tom Brady. Does Tom Brady get rid of the ball fast? Yes, he does. Has Tom Brady been much more accurate this year than he was last year? Yes, he has been. Does Tom Brady have weapons? Only everywhere you look, it's an embarrassment of riches on offense. You also have a head coach in Bruce Arians, who seems to push all the right buttons with Brady and this team throughout the year. Every time the media played it up into a controversy, in fact, if you looked closely, Arians knew when to push Tom Brady's buttons and get the team motivated, and Brady motivated with public criticism. He knew when to back him up. He knew when to kind of make the offense more what Tom Brady wanted. This team is, in addition to protecting the quarterback and doing all the things I just said, peaking right now against a Washington football team that, as I said, was lucky to beat the Eagles, who weren't even trying to win on the last game of the season. The Washington football team can't win this game.
Well, Max Kellerman, first of all, before you go on your soliloquies, why don't you try not lying to the American public? Every football team doesn't have a strength. The Jets don't have a strength. Okay, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
In the playoffs, I said if you win 7 games.
There's a couple of teams that have no strength whatsoever. Zero. There's certain teams that have no strengths, okay? That's why they're horrible, okay? So not every team has a strength back. Most of them do, but not every team, okay? At the end of the day, though, listen, if we break down the Washington football team's chances of winning this game, we all know that it's slim to none. We get all of that. We just can't definitively say none simply because of what I highlighted. The ability to pressure the quarterback to get after you is what we have raved about. People have talked about how this is probably the best front four in football, if not at the very least the NFC. So we pay attention to all of that, and we recognize what has plagued Tom Brady. And that's when he was younger. Now he's 43. So, first of all, he couldn't move that much in the past. He damn sure can't do that now. He's still that dude. He still can get it done. He's still special. We understand that. But in terms of his mobility, they certainly don't have anything to worry about in that regard. He's a stationary target against this front four. We can't ignore that. I don't predict they'll win, but it's going to be interesting in terms of their ability to get at him and Bruce Arians' ability to protect him. We'll see.
Speaking of Bruce Arians, 5 words for you. No risk it, no biscuit. Bucks are favored by 8. Let's keep it moving.